I'm doing part 8 now. I'm gonna kind of continue on with the Signs and Wonders thing. Um, I don't know how much I talked about the UFOs, or as I like to say, UAPs, because, phenomena. I know I did that. Again, I think they're probably demons. I think it's going to also be, and I know I didn't talk about this, I think it's going to be the explanation that they use for Rapture. 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, 8 years ago, when all this Rapture stuff was being talked about, there's zero chance they could have said it was aliens. They hadn't built up this idea that aliens are real. But over the past, 4 years, 3 years, they're now confirming that aliens are real, right? All these UFO sightings, they're being seen by everybody. We used to, I didn't. I just dismissed it because I thought that people are either crazy or delusional or confusing something with something. You know what I mean? So I thought maybe they were, seeing normal it's called para science. There's paranormal and it's oh man, I'm blanking. It's in The Haunting, the movie The Haunting, 1963 version, if you ever see it. It's like normal, but we haven't proven it yet. Sort of like cryptozoology. People are talking about like Bigfoot and stuff like that, right? And saying it can't be real, but why not? Why couldn't a Yeti be real? Why couldn't Bigfoot be real? I don't think they are. That's not the point. Maybe at some point they were. I don't know. But why is it like some absolutely paranormal thing to think that they could exist? It's not. It's cryptozoology. It's something we think doesn't exist because we haven't found solid, tangible evidence. And what we have is speculative. But we find animals all the time. Didn't they just find some big animal recently that they thought didn't exist? Look at some of the pythons and anacondas that have been hiding forever, and now they're like the size of Texas. They're giant. We're talking like 1,000-foot snakes and stuff that people have seen, supposedly. That's one of those. I don't know if that's real or not, but they do have ones they found a skin that was like 76 feet long, like super wide. They have ones that ate humans, like full on head to toe, and were found digesting the human. So, I whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm getting off topic. ADHD is fun. Okay. But my point is that all these, UFOs were now being seen. And it seems like odd timing, because if Rapture does happen, it seems like what the government will probably try to do, or world government or world religion will try to do to convince everyone that it wasn't a rapture point, is to say it was aliens. And 3-eye Atlas, which is what I'm going to talk about right after, might be a convincing argument. Obviously that's not what would happen, but I think people would actually believe it. You're talking about a not comet, not meteor. It's something else being controlled by nuclear energy, supposedly. I think it's wormwood, like I told you guys before. But it's being controlled by either angels or demons, in my opinion. But what is interesting and goes along with this is there are 7 comets all hovering around or close in proximity, or will be close in proximity to this thing. 7. Interesting. Like, God's number. And one of the comets right now is in Virgo. Now, I don't know if I covered the 8 years thing yet, but I think I did. Pretty sure I told you guys about the virgin birth thing. Now, I think the virgin birth that happened 8 years ago on the 23rd, September 23rd, might have been like a hint for the future. Like a, be awake. I'm coming, clearly. Here's the proof. And 8 years later, on the same day, no less. I think they're tied, but the fact that one of the comets is in Virgo makes me feel like that is just confirmation. It's like the baby being brought home. I don't know. Maybe that's stupid, but there's definitely something going on. Some convergence of information that we are unaware of that is both biblical and terrifying. And again, it's not like millions of people are going to disappear. And yes, half the bride is staying, so half of us are staying, and I think it's the wise, foolish bride. The wise ones are paying attention and awake and ready to go at a moment's notice. And the other brides are just chilling in their house. I'm Christian, so God will rapture me. You don't lose your salvation, but you can definitely lose your rapture. Believe me, I was a Christian. Well, I'll tell you guys about this dream, but like I said, that's going to be one of my last videos. But you can definitely lose your rapture. Just because you're Christian doesn't mean you're being taken home. If you're not waiting for your husband, why the heck would he want to marry you? Right? Like, if your husband's like, coming to get you, hey, we're going to go get married, you're betrothed, you're in a covenant with the Lord, and you're like, he'll come when he comes. Why would he want you? I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm just saying, all these people who are like demonizing people for believing that God's coming, I'd rather be wrong on my end than be like you, where I'm not even waiting anymore. You're like, hopefully soon, but it's not this time. How do you know? Anyway, I could go on with that because this is really something that sticks up my craw. And again, if Rapture doesn't happen, something major is coming. Like, world-ending type major. So, the only thing that makes sense is Rapture. Because something is coming. The amount of things happening I couldn't make enough videos to cover them all. You could be online all day, non-stop. Believe me, I've done it. I've literally stayed up for 48 hours in a row, just one thing after another, finding new things. And just be like, what are the odds of all of this stuff? There's so much. And some of it would be normal if it happened, one thing of ball lightning, for example. Seeing one of those, every year or every 10 years, fine. But hundreds? When literally I've heard of like 2, I didn't even know ball lightning existed until I was an adult and was on an airplane and saw one. So, like, didn't even know that was a thing. Like I said, I'm a weather nerd. So, and now suddenly there's hundreds of cases on video, no less. Not even, God knows how many cases aren't recorded, or they didn't upload the video. I don't know. I don't tend to be one of those people who instantly pulls out my phone to record stuff, believe it or not. Even though I'm making these videos, I don't particularly like being on camera. I don't feel very physically pretty enough to be on camera. Shout out Jose, you're really sweet. But let's be honest, I'm not exactly the prettiest person, and having me on camera is uncomfortable for me, you know? I'm not one of those people to see something on. Well, my family's never been the picture taking family, except for my Uncle Greg, who, shout out to him too. I think they're going to watch my stuff later. But, aside from him, I don't think most of us grab a phone or grab a camera. We're just sort of in the moment people. At the end of the night, we might pull out a phone and take pictures. But I've never been the one to be up people's butts to get those pictures. Not because I don't love them. I absolutely adore my family. Even though I fight with them, like cats and dogs. They can attest. They know. But we're not picture people, I don't think. That sounds wrong. We are, but we're in the moment people. We've always been in the moment people. So I'm not going to grab my phone if I see something crazy unless it's super, super crazy. Or unless I have time. Sometimes I see something crazy and it disappears before I can even think to get my phone. It's not my first thought. I'm not the I'm going to cry on camera type. I've never really understood that. But anyway, my point is that I'm not alone. This is a lot of people are like me, where it's your phone is second nature. Yeah, you might have it in your hand all the time. That's because we're watching YouTube Shorts or whatever, not pulling out and taking pictures of everything or recording everything. Most of us aren't doing that. So to even think, hey, I should grab my phone and record stuff. So think about all the thousands of things not being seen because people like me aren't we should grab our phone and record this. This is crazy. Right? So my point is that to see hundreds of instances of this stuff, and I have no joke, at least 100. At least. I've probably seen 24 Jesuses in the skies. I've seen probably, I don't know, 40 videos, maybe 50 videos of trumpet sounds in the sky that's been going on for the past 15 years, give or take, since I had my first dream about Rapture. My first major dream about Rapture. I've had subsequent smaller dreams, but not like the first one. The first one shook me to my core. It's what made me start searching eschatology because I was so shocked by it. Anyway, so all these videos are happening. It's fascinating, and I truly think the government is going to try to trick people into thinking we were all taken by aliens. That couldn't have happened at any other point in time. And I think they can fake it, quite honestly. I think they have the technology now to make it seem real. They'll show a bunch of UFOs, and whether or not they are the ones making UFO videos now, I don't know. But they will show UFOs and us being raptured to the UFOs. Or maybe we are raptured to a UFO. Who knows? But I think they're going to blame aliens. That's where we all went. It was aliens. I've literally told my friends and family who refuse to listen to me about Rapture that if I go, it was God, not aliens, 5 times. I've told them this 5 times because I'm do not believe this crap and do not take the mark. I don't want you. I'd rather you be beheaded than go to hell, meet me in with the Lord. They're all convinced that I'm out of my mind, but maybe I am. I'd rather be out of my mind, though, and paying attention for God than not pay attention. That's how I feel. Anyway, all right. We'll see you in the next one. Sorry, this one's kind of a rant. I haven't had a lot of sleep, and, sometimes I get overly excited about this stuff. It's oh my gosh, I have to tell you guys this. There's so much more. There's so much I haven't written down because we would be here for weeks if I listed all the stuff I found. But I'm trying to get the highlights, the stuff that's backed in scripture. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.